I'm guessing that you have some goal in life right now, some change that you'd like to see happen. Maybe you want to graduate or just get by that one class. Or maybe you want to find love or get more friends. Maybe your goal is something smaller, like finally getting a PlayStation 5. Either way, we all have these ends in life. And if you're not lazy like me, you probably employ certain means to achieve those ends. You might have a full-fledged game plan or perhaps something less serious, but regardless, you know what you want and you have an idea on what means to employ to get that end. But maybe on one of those lonely nights you start wondering why you want those ends in the first place. Yeah, I want that promotion, but why? So I can make more money? But why do I want more money? So I can buy more stuff I want? But why do I want to buy more stuff? As you can see, it seems as though our goals are really only sought after to achieve some further goal. But what if we could find some goal or end that is the ultimate end? The end that is not sought after in pursuit of something else. An end that is complete and self-sufficient. Such a powerful concept underlying all of our activities as humans would make a great starting point for an ethical philosophy. And that's exactly where Aristotle starts. Hello and welcome back to Amygdala Vids, the channel considered as Western propaganda by the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Today we're going over Aristotle's idea of happiness, which is where he starts off in his famous text, the Nicomachean Ethics. Also, apologies if I sound off. I've had a fever for the past couple of days and my gums have just failed on me. I've been just scooping mashed potatoes down my throat because I can't eat anything hard. Got mashed potatoes coming out of my ears. So Aristotle can be tough to read, and he's very systematic, which is why we're going to cover the ideas in this book super slowly, taking it one step at a time so we could all attempt to grasp it. Also, for transparency's sake, I'm using the Terence Irwin translation, which is absolutely excellent. Would definitely recommend if this is your first time with Aristotle. Now without further ado, let's talk about means, ends, and the ultimate end. Like we talked about in the intro, Aristotle's looking at the ultimate reason for why we really do anything at all. Quite a good place to start when building an ethical system. It's not identical, but it's very similar to that stereotypical philosophy question, what is the meaning of life? I know existentialism and absurdism are super popular on the internet, but perhaps here one can interpret Aristotle as providing that ultimate meaning. Maybe I'm wrong in making that connection, I don't know. Bottom line is that Aristotle's looking for an end that is ultimate and not pursued for the sake of some other end. In all such cases then, the ends of the ruling sciences are more choice-worthy than all the ends subordinate to them, since the lower ends are also pursued for the sake of the higher. Like we said earlier, if we really ask why we're after some of our goals, usually it's because of some further goal. Aristotle thinks those goals, or ends, that are higher than the initial goals are going to be more important. So think about it like a ladder. You got a goal that leads to another goal, that leads to another goal. What then is at the top of this ladder? Well, before we pull back the curtain to meet the wizard, let's talk about the features of this ultimate end. If then the thing achievable by action have some end that we wish for because of itself, and we wish for other things because of this end, and we do not choose everything because of something else, it is clear that this end will be the good, that is to say, the best good. So what's Aristotle saying here? First, we have to accept his premise that not everything we do is for something else. There has to be some end point. He points out that if there really is no final end, this desire will be, quote, empty and futile in his words. Kinda reminds me of the first mover argument for God, but backwards and in regards to means and ends. Now if you accept his premise here, then we could recognize that this end is 1. Something we want because of itself and not for something else, 2. An end that our other pursuits aim at, and 3. The best good. Okay, you're probably getting sick of me wasting your time, so I'll just tell you what this end goal is. It's happiness. But wait, we gotta be careful here because this is a complicated term. As far as its name goes, most people practically agree, for both the many and the cultivated call it happiness, and they suppose that living well and doing well are the same as being happy. So in Greek, the term used is eudaimonia, and if you're on the Stoic and Epicurean train, you'd probably recognize this term as well. So the best translation we got for eudaimonia is happiness, but I find that living well fits a bit better because happiness can be a complicated term. I mean, you think of happiness and you might think of hedonism or just overindulging in pleasure. But living well to me seems to really capture the reason for all that we do, because we believe either consciously or subconsciously that our actions will lead us to living well. But maybe this is all just semantics. Assuming you agree with me that living well fits better, we could see that 1, we want it because of itself and not for some further end, and 2, we do things believing we will ultimately come to this end, and 3, well, that's up to you, I guess. But it's easy to see how Aristotle thinks so, as living well meets the last 2 factors. Now, happiness, more than anything else, seems complete without qualification. For this we choose always because of itself, never because of something else. Now you might be saying, big deal. Okay, so living well or happiness is the ultimate end goal of life. Fine, but that doesn't tell me what living well means, now does it? Right you are, hypothetical skeptic, which is why Aristotle goes further into trying to understand this ultimate good. So Aristotle starts by acknowledging the importance of the function of a human being. But presumably, the remark that the best good is happiness is apparently something generally agreed, and we still feel the need of a clearer statement of what the best good is. Perhaps then we shall find this if we first grasp the function of a human being. So Plato talks about functions a lot in the Republic. You know how the function of an eye is sight? That sort of thing. So what's the function of a human? Aristotle believes that this is actions that align with reason. We have found then that the human function is activity of the soul in accord with reason or requiring reason. To Aristotle, reason is what separates us from other living things like animals. So perhaps the function of a human is actions in accord with reason. So if this is the function of a human, what would help us perform that function well would be good, right? This is where virtue comes in. Now some may think of virtue and just think of goodness in a general sense, but it's a bit more specific. You see, virtue is that state of something that makes a thing good in performing the thing's function. So for example, let's say the function of a condom is to prevent STIs and unwanted pregnancies. The virtue then of a condom would be its durability, since without its durability, the condom wouldn't be able to perform its function very well. So in the case of humans, certain virtues are going to help humans perform the function of acting in accordance with reason. Now what those virtues are and the ins and outs of them is definitely going to have to be saved for another video. But the point for this video is that Aristotle believes that an important requirement of living well is going to be living in accordance with these virtues. Now just doing virtuous activities is not going to cut it for living well. I mean, to live well we actually gotta live first, right? So we'd need some external goods too. You know, food, water, shelter, even friends and money, so we could have the means to do virtuous acts. Nonetheless, happiness evidently also needs external goods to be added, as we said, for we cannot or cannot easily do fine actions if we lack the resources. So to live well, we need to do both actions in accordance with virtue, and then we also need these external goods in order to actually live and have the means to do virtuous activities. Now you're probably left with questions as to what these virtues are that should inspire virtuous activity. Well, that'll be our next Aristotle video, so you'll want to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified for when that drops. But Aristotle's very systematic, and I just wanted to take this whole thing slow and one video at a time. So if this video did its job, we'd have a good starting point to explore further into the Nicomachean Ethics. We realize that happiness or living well is the ultimate end goal of all human activity, and we have an idea of what living well entails. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and share it around if you think these ideas are worth talking about. Again, sorry for the voice, I'll have more chicken noodle soup to hopefully get better, and I wish you all a beautiful rest of your day.